Alrighty. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on when you see this. Hose is back. Alright, we're back with more Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. Last time we went ahead and continued our investigation on Lana Skye. Now, after finally moving forward from from that of the previous episode, we were able to find out that the ID number find out the ID reports for who comes in the evidence room that day of the crime or the murder. I mean, um, so we found out that Bruce Goodman's ID did show up, which also contradicts some things for good old Meekins over here. So we're gonna see how that plays out. So we've also gotten another new tool, courtesy of Edgeworth, which is we got the what you call it? Was it aluminum? I think so. It's the powder stuff like you see in like spy shows or whatever, where they find fingerprints and stuff. So we have that. So we found out some fingerprints. I found more evidence. So we'll see how we're gonna use it in this trial. Now we have resumed, and we are interrogating Meekins here, who we are just trying to figure out mainly who's the mystery man is, who the guy is. It really Bruce Goodman? And made a little hiccup, but doesn't matter. We made it through. I think we made pretty good progress. Let's continue on. Mystery man number 2. Here we go. All right. There's one thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his ID card. Is he contradicting himself? An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. We still don't know what the first one is. The ID used at 514 is that of the victim. See, just before the crime, yes, without a doubt, that this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Oh, just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now, let us move on to the cross-examination. Alright. Here we go. For real. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. So, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. But the thing is, he talked about it earlier that he didn't have one. Do we have a record of that? We don't. Let's press him about it. Because he said earlier that he wasn't. Is that card hanging from your neck one of those ID cards? Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't never forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it in the open like that? Maybe I should wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times make my tie get stuck when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time, it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has at least one. Both the police department and prosecutor office can attest to this. Please proceed. When ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Hold it! Earlier, I believe you justified that when you asked the man to show his ID card. Here we go. He pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Maybe he just panicked. Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. Mr. Wright, what do you think? I'm confused. What? The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this. You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we've got. Oh, it's obvious? Okay, I'm just a dummy. Okay. Oh, wait. No, because the card was at the scene of the crime at the other place. Yeah, found at the prosecutor's office. Objection! Right. Again, this is why I should play these in one session. Which I didn't. But hopefully next one. Wait, one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. Does that make sense? No. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report is only half completed, but it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Hold up. So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Hold up. Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo? Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes? What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security cameras does not show the instant of the murder. That is, well, I guess that's right. There's something wrong, Mr. Wright. Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well. It seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain to yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So, the real crime could only take place on one location, the underground parking lot. At the prosecutor's office, the murder being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Yeah, so we just proved a point that it's more likely Lana Skye. I see. I knew that testimony was too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly the victim Officer Meekins encountered, and where did this person disappear to? However, this trial purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Because the only other one is the blood with the locker over there. Yeah, the only other thing is Marshall's fingerprint, but what would that have to do about anything? Well, let's try.
Objection!
One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? The cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Is it about the handkerchief? Okay. Ba-boom. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor? If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh? Whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person, whom would you have testify? What is his or her name? Bring on the marshal. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know anything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. If I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we would hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Alright, recess time. Recess. Alright. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana? You're the one who knows everything. You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How could he be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Oh no. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Yes, you are. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey. Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Persecutor Skye. That's okay. So have you brought what I asked? Oh, it's Christmas. You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Can I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Miss Skye was a witness? Files for Joe Dark killings solved 2 years ago. Take it from me, you won't want anything to do with serial murders. Alright, well, can I read it? Closed. Perpetrator Joe Drake. Or Dark? I don't know. Serial murder. Sentence is death. Victims were Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby. Kirby! Oh, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, and Neil Marshall. That is Detective Marshall's first name is Neil. I'm pretty sure it's him. Trial data. Head prosecutor was Miles Edgeworth at the time, and witness was Lana Skye and Emma Skye. Emma? Investigation Task Force. Executive investigators. Damon Gaunt, the head of police, and Lana Skye. Head investigator was Bruce Goodman. Right. Investigators were Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. Wait. Neil Marshall? Maybe it's like a brother? Oh, victims. Sorry. Victims. But this must be like a relative or something of Jake Marshall. Neil Marshall. Okay. Maybe like a brother or something. Okay. Take it from me. You don't... Okay. Oh, what? Now that I've brought you stuff, you're gonna just ignore me? Emma? But why? Why is your name on here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark? No, Lana. That's over with. Oh no. Did you collapse? Oh, she ran away. Emma, wait. Emma, wait. She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. You gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal. I'm out of here. Okay. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gaunt, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. Oh yeah, everybody present. It didn't say anything about a Skye in here, did it? No. So why was she a witness to this? Guess we'll see. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. Don't worry, I got a good look. TBC. But yeah, definitely the Marshall being a witness. Probably like the brother or something died or something. Or father. It could be father. Feb 24, 12/14. Here we go. And Emma's not here. Alright. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand, the officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. And he's drinking. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Damn, did he drink his whole flask? Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know, you're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind call it out. Okay, bye. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth describe that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime in plain old English. Here we go. My job was to keep a wary eye on the bone orchard. And my controller dying. Even though I swear I charged it. PlayStation, what is this? Alright. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems. Anyway, if I remember right, I was at Streetside Saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Why are you hitting us? I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickey are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses. Now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Day of the crime. Here we go. Alright. My job was to keep a wary eye on the bone orchard. They said it was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day. But that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security cameras. Please explain. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner. I ain't good with mechanics. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. The sensors of the locker's handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? Can you explain what you're saying? What are you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel Steak's lunches can beat that parlor's fungo sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not at all, desperados. Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edward says. Did you want to raise this year? innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time to trap. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it, I better up the ante. How exactly do you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I erased a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for dramatics, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. Okay. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you, that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. Oh, desperado. I know let's rules get it this way. No desperados. I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Alright. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing is clear, despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Okay? What can I even use here? So there's nothing... They said I was supposed to make rounds for them today. My job... Maybe it could be the cardigan? Because the only thing that makes sense is the ID card again. Nope, damn it.
Objection!
Wait. Okay. It sounded like with the dialogue he said maybe we should not use this yet. Okay, whatever. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called to in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there.
Objection!
I wish it were, officer. But you see, fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away, however. A luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to be. There ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. Blood-stained fingerprints. Here we go. Like I said, it's only natural that for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine. Here we go. This guy's hiding something. Now's my chance. Here we go. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the principal. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. Yeah, let's press this one. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to none. On the contrary, one could argue that the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Unrelated. They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's got a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see any homonyms? I didn't even know that's a thing. Have to do with this. Okay. Oh, I guess it would be the same word with different meanings. Okay. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, though to be left by the murderer. That's right. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried to that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. I can't let me squirt out of this one. I've got to find something. Something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this. That's because how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. The locker happens to be mine. What do you mean? I mean that what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's there now is though it's a heap of broken dreams. I see. That'd be strange if my prints weren't all over the locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Found on bloody handprint on Marshall's own locker. The print has been wiped. It's on his own locker. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood. In the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say my otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this. Yes, Your Honor. Now then continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner?
Hold it!
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me into this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have.
Objection!
But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
Objection!
That's true. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you could show us evidence that this video indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so. In the video? I'm looking at the video again, hold on. See, there's the handkerchief. Because there is an original mark up there, the 77777, but that'll have been before everybody, and way before the crime scene. Let's save right here. Should be moving back to the testimony. Well, you know what? I'm gonna be a madman. Let's go ahead and check that damn video. Alright, let's check it again. Even though I just did very well. Allow me to point out your mistake. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might end up being the one making mistakes. Now then, let's look at another video again. Show us the incriminating evidence. Kind of look over there to see if there's anything. Wait. Do you see that? Is it supposed to happen? like the way it's moving. But then again, Meekins would have saw him though. You see, it hesitates. I guess I never noticed that. And then it hesitates again. Yeah, this thing has the fingerprint right there. It has the hurt thing, this smudge mark, but it's like jittering. Because I never noticed that. Cause look, it's moving fine, but when he enters frame, it starts jittering. Try it, why not? No, it's not. Please allow me to apologize for my colleague, Your Honor. He's getting carried away sometimes. Yes, well, this certainly isn't a first. Will you forgive him too, Officer Marshall? He's not a bad man, just a bit illusioned. Of course, I'm not one to gun down unarmed boys. Oh, great. Now Edgeworth is defending me. Guess that means I missed the mark. But it has to do with this, for sure. Too bad it wasn't me in the video, right? But still, the locker still had to have opened somehow. Especially if it was him. Alright, let's go on a whim. Let's see if this works.
Objection!
Nope, of course it didn't. Or maybe I can use this on something else? We could also try something else, but I don't know if it's gonna work.
Objection!
That will make no sense, but let's try it.
Objection!
Cause maybe it's just the handkerchief on the thing. Cause maybe it is. I'm trying not to be, you know, so overthinking it. Alright. Because he did say that is his locker. Because there was nothing there until the last moment, right? Maybe that's probably what it is. I'm just overthinking it.
Take that!
Bringing our attention back. See? Shouldn't have overthinked it. Bring it back to the camera. It is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so rare are tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, he did. He did summarize it for 8 words. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. I was thinking too much. The locker with the with cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video. What? There it is. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Here we go. Order. It seems that this hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say open that locker. Now prove it.
Take that!
Fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. Alright. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? What is he pulling on? Oh my. I've only got one word for you, partner. No! What? Is he good? Order. Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assume this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Here, have a look at these floor plans. Okay. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Back here? Because this is where the blind spot is. Because what's right here? What's right here? It was the door? Oh yeah, the door. The door and the mannequin thing.
Take that!
Officer Marshall was standing right here. So Officer Meekins didn't notice him standing there? That's almost as credible as Meekins' rap store theory. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and save. Can we mention that there's a door? Perhaps you should think, oh yeah, whatever. Should have seen him in the evidence room. That means the only place he could have been would be... These were the metal detectors and stuff were. Back here? Because there's also the camera's not there, but I don't know. There's only one place he could have been, where Officer Meekins can't see him? Because this is all the metal detectors and stuff. These are the lockers. There's the mannequin thing and the camera. And the Meekins' route was this. He's all the way out here, folks. He's out of the grid. Come on. What? Okay. Those lockers aren't big either. Is it, no, because you just saw them there. Right here. Folks, what are we doing here? What? No. What? Unless he's right there. Well, that would make no sense. Because then, obviously, he can't really sneak around. That's literally, like, the only logical answer, unless I'm dumb. Which, most of this, episode, like this whole trial sequence, yeah, I have been. What? Excusez-moi, I have no idea what you are talking about. I must be stupid. What, is it on the right side? Imagine that. Guys, I'm so dumb. Yeah, okay. Officer Meekins should have seen him in the evidence room. That means the only place he could have been would be... Unless we're talking about that he's the victim? There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. So that was just a very bold claim. It was you dressed up as, like, Detective Goodman. Well, to be honest, if we don't know who it is, he would only be the only, you know, main suspect here, I guess. I guess that makes sense.
Objection!
Alright. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. See?
Objection!
May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testifies about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his ID, or card ID. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If If the man had his ID card, why didn't he show it? Okay. Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. Yeah, because that would reveal what he looks like. Okay, that makes sense. I'm just small-brained. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Right. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say about them, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. He's denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. Are we talking about the costume he has on the left? Can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't seem equally. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence? The Officer Meekins Marshall dressed up as the victim. Well, who am I kidding? I don't know anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Yeah, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. Yeah, which is outside the crime scene. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise? Why would you think his locker would open in the first place? Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all of our unanswered questions, and have any evidence that this video is my only shot. Very well, let's take yet another look. Oh boy, because I actually don't know. Okay. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to. Maybe it was to wipe away blood or something? Or it could be the blood on his shoulder. It could be it too. Right? Right? For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room, though I don't know what to do to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. That was something I pointed out a long time ago, but I'm glad that was actually evidence. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Ah, not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you are happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago. If you were only half as persistent then as you were today, we all would have had to be here now, wouldn't we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. All right. It seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. We'll do one more. Actually, I want to see this to the end. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I was expecting Officer Meekins and knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of large quantity of blood were found on the floor on the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. I agree too. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. Okay, let's see what he has to say. What do you mean? When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since the case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. The incident's not over. What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? Well, the case is closed. Only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much? The day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID and dressed up like him. Why did you disguise yourself? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. The detective's ID card. I stole that the morning of the incident. It really was why Goodman started filing out the lost item report. I returned his ID. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left by Officer Marshall? So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't even be able to open the locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. Pull a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. There you go. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. It was me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? Oh, I don't want to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and managed to escape. I knew which areas could be caught by the camera.
Hold it!
So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left out. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day, there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence for the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Miss Edgeworth, where is the evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty? Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Well, partner, it's a free country. Crazy. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. I can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Alright. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do anything if it takes anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? Well, I guess I do, but let's hear you out first. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember Joe Dark's case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down on that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. Alright, time to bring up the files. I'm so confident with this answer, but I'm just gonna be sure. Alright, let's show him the files. Let's see what he wants to do with this. Here we go.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that name. 2 years ago. Oh, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What, a prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. The case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gaunt and the Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were just desperate to prosecute the killer. Oh, this is what the guy looked like. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. Yeah, the case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Huh? Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case would be reopened. Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall? Not satisfied with this resolution? Officer Marshall plans to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. Hold on. Sorry, just making sure. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened may, by chance, never cease to amaze me. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's got to be more than that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, this means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
Objection!
Okay, what are we gonna do? But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Objection!
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make a single word or less. Make it a single word. Objection. Oh. I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now that the time for the verdict has come, this court finds the defendant. Objection! Hold it. Here we go. Who is it? Emma? Yes! Here we go. Your Honor, wait. Emma? The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Objection. Oh my god. Right? What do you mean, Wright? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please? I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Oh, wow. But that is where we're going to end it for today. As much as I want to keep playing, because I don't think I'll be able to record anymore today. I really want to, though. Damn, I want to see this. I want to see this to the end, but I have to end it for the sake of my health. But that's going to do it for this episode, so thank you guys for watching. Good night, good evening, or good morning, depending on when you see this. I'll see you guys next time. As we see what Emma's about to show us here to defend Lana, Skye, and most likely we're going to have another day of investigating about this case to see what's going to happen, so I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye for now. Well, yeah. Bye-bye.